Hello, Daryl here. The channel is Programming in Any Language. The supporting website is programminginanylanguage.com or black-duck.com. They both take you to the same place, and it's a place where you'll find the videos and PDFs of the code. The video is the Anything Database, version 4, part 3, navigation. During my time as a consultant, I wrote dozens of applications for dozens of clients. In all cases, some sort of collection of data was required. It might have been a collection of data in a text file, or it might have been a collection of data using a database engine. Either way, it required giving the user the ability to navigate through those records. That's what we're going to do here. And navigation is pretty simple. It means looking at the first record. It means looking at the last record. And of course, it means moving forward or backwards through the record, through that entire file. And all this is accomplished by using an integer to point to a particular record in a list. When navigating, the only thing that can go wrong is you set the integer too low, less than 0, or you set it too high, beyond the number of records in the file. And those two conditions are really easy to check. As for getting our data, it couldn't be simpler. When we navigate through each record in our list, all the fields can simply be pulled to an instance of the class. They can simply be extracted into the text boxes in our form. Let me show you. Now that we can add records to our database using our class, and before we actually learn how to save records, we want to be able to navigate through them so we can add a bunch and then be able to go forward and backward and so on down the line. So this version 4, part 3 of the Anything Database is going to be navigation. If you take a look at our hierarchy chart, you can see we've got navigation sitting off on the side here. We can go top, bottom, forward, backwards, and display the results in there. So anything we do in here, once we've done it, once we have records out there, we can navigate and take a look at those records that are sitting inside our list, basically, that the class has helped us create. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll just dig deeper into this thing and look at this piece right here. And basically what we've got is we've got top, bottom, forward, and backwards. That means we're going to be using a pointer to literally go to the top of the list, the bottom of the list, or anywhere inside it by simply going forward, adding one to a list or subtracting one from our counter so we actually see that. So let's take a look and see how this all happens. If we look at our screen, we're going to be using the number of records going to be showing up there. We'll be using all of our fields here, the text, last name, middle initial, first name, address, line 1 and 2, city, state, zip. And of course, these buttons will be turned on, so we can actually use this. The panel button will be on as well. So we can go backwards, button top, forward, and bottom. And there'll be a user message that tells where we are in the database, where we are in this list as we strug through it. So that's what we're going to be doing with our code this time. So let's take a look. This is our program using a class. We're going to be using these buttons right here, where they're going to be the active pieces we're going to be programming this time. As far as the person class goes, there's nothing to be changed in this thing. It's all straightforward. We're just fine with this. In fact, we won't even use this much at all when you get right down to it. We don't need the class for this particular entry. We're going to be using the code inside our form right here. And nothing needs to be changed up on top. We're going to be just fine with the form. Our list is going to be the same. Adding records are going to be there. Button adding is going to be sitting there. Enable, all that stuff. Nothing needed to be changed in here. As we go down, enable text box, clear text boxes, flip buttons are all going to be sitting there. The button cancel there, update, and read data entry are all sitting there. We've got these things commented out for our testing. We can remove them if we want. I'll just leave them in there in case we decide to use them later. And our display record count, which we will be using quite a bit in this particular routine because we're going to be showing us where we are in this particular thing. So what do we want to do? We want to be able to literally navigate. So the first thing we want to do is jump to the screen and click on the top button right here. If you can see, it's called button top, BTN top. We'll double click on it to create an event, and the event pops up. All we want to do with this thing is to be able to set our pointer to 0 and look at that first record in there, and then fill the text boxes, and then let the user know where we are. So we're going to do that with just 3 lines of code. We're going to set our internet pointer to 0, fill text box. We'll call a routine that's going to be using that pointer 0 and fill it, and then we're going to set our label, let's say top of file record 0. Notice the fill text boxes are giving us an error. We don't have that thing. We actually have to create this method. We can put it in here, but we're going to be using it every single, in our top, bottom, forward, backwards. We're going to be using it each time because we're going to fill the text boxes. So one method is going to make much more sense to do. So we're going to go down here, right under this thing. Let's do it above it. And let's go ahead and create something called private void fill text boxes. And we're going to pass it an integer. And then goes our ellipsis so we have the data to put in. Our error goes away, but we don't have anything in here. All we need to do is simply fill the boxes. Now, this is going to be kind of simple. We're going to create a new person class again, an instance of a class, new person. And then we're going to take new person, and anything list element X is going to be in that new person thing. So we're going to be filling it. How does this happen? When we create the instance of the class called new person, we then set it equal to anything list that element at X, which is 0, the first element. All the pieces that are sitting in that list are going to be populated into the instance of the class, which means we're going to have our first name, middle initial, last name, address on 1, 2, city, state, and zip code are all going to be placed inside the text boxes. So we're going to be able to grab this data from new person, string first name, string middle initial. It's all automatically sitting in there because we simply created the instance and then added that list to it. This gives us the ability to populate this, and that's all we need to do, and that takes care of it. With that in place, all we need to do is actually create the rest of the navigation. So we can go back to our form design. We can hit our bottom button. It creates this button bottom event. Again, 3 lines of code, pops it in there. We're actually making our record count equal to the record pointer minus 1. Whatever the record count is, if we have 10 records in there, there's 0 through 9. So we're going to take that record count of 10, subtract 1 from it to give us a 9 to the record pointer, or whatever the number happens to be. If it's 100 records, then we got 0 through 99. So we take 100 and subtract 1 to get 99 and put that in a record pointer. So we're always pointing to the last record. So bottom of file record, int record to string, and that pops it. That's our message coming out to the user. And again, we're filling text boxes using that method up here. Go into the form design again, hit back button. There's our back button. The back button takes a few more lines of code, not much. But once again, all we're doing is taking the record pointer and subtracting 1 from it. So if we're sitting at record number 10, we're going to go to 9. If we're sitting at 9, we'll go to 8. 8, we'll go to 7, so on. So we're going to decrement that. But we have to check for it to make sure it doesn't go lower than 0, because 0 is our first record. So if it goes lower than 0, we want to make it equal to 0, make it sit there. So we can hit the back button all we want. Once we're at 0, we're going to stay at 0. And then we'll fill our text boxes, and we tell them the word record, whatever, record 1, record 2, record 0, whatever. It's going to pop up in there. Now, forward button is almost identical to the back button, except we add 1. Forward button looks like this. In record pointer plus 1. Notice the difference here? Very similar. Again, this time we have to check to see if it's equal, if the in record pointer is equal to in record count. If it is, maybe we exceeded the top of the file and we want to be able to back it up 1. So in record pointer equals in record pointer minus 1. So we'll actually decrement that by 1, so we're sitting out there. In other words, if we've got 10 records out there, we want to back it up 1 so it's looking at 0 through 9, or the 10th record in the system. Fill it, and then we go ahead and display it on the screen. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do for navigation. Navigation is actually done. Let's take a look and see how this thing works. We're going to start. We'll do an ad. And we'll update it. We'll add another one. We've got 1 record in there. We'll put him in an apartment. And we'll update him. And 1 more. And update that. We've got 3 records sitting in the system. Our navigation should now be able to work. So if we go to the top of the file, we hit click on here, and we end up with top of file record 0, and it shows Daffy Duck sitting out there. We go to the bottom of the file, we're sitting at bottom file record number 2, 012, and we're showing Bugsby Bunny sitting in. We hit it again, and it doesn't do anything, it just sits there. If we go forward on it, we're sitting at record number 2, it just stays there, it won't go any further than that because we're at that first record. We can back up. Elmer P. Fudd, Daffy Duck, first record again. Keep on clicking on it, and we stay right there. Go forward, Elmer Fudd, Bugs Bunny. So backwards, Elmer, Daffy. So navigation works just fine. We now can add records and we'll be able to navigate through them and see each one that we actually have, which means we can locate one and edit it once we create that, and so on. But before we do anything else, it's nice to have this test data in there. Right now, when I close this thing off, it's going to be gone. So what we want to do next is probably do the save button right here and save the records that we've got in here so we can come back the next day and continue where we left off. So this is navigation in a nutshell. We can now add records to our list and navigate through them. Saving that data would be nice. Saving coupled with a load feature would allow us to use the data created the day before. So we'll tackle saving next. Thanks for watching. Visit the website when you get a chance, and please subscribe to the channel. There's more stuff coming every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.